Hi everybody, Maquis here with video 3. If you've seen my first two videos, you would have noticed that both of them I talked a lot about women in Islam. And there is a reason for that. It's not because I have a feminist agenda. It's about the fact that Islam rides on the back of its women. If Muslim women suddenly got the same rights as Western women, Islam would fall apart within a week. Because the men are lured to Islam because of all the free sex they can have, and they can. Muslim men can have sex with anyone without any repercussions. They can always find a justification in the Quran, in the life of Muhammad, for having sex with any woman that they are not married to. So this is the reward for Muslim men to keep Islam together, to wage jihad, because there will be plentiful women for them both in this world and the next world. Whatever they may say, Islam is, for the women at least, not about worshipping Allah, not about worshipping Muhammad. It is about worshipping the men. I'll give you one example. During the month of Ramadan is a month of fasting for Muslims. It's compulsory for every Muslim past puberty age. So the Muslims have to fast from sunup to sundown. And during the day, the women have to cook and have the meals ready for the moment that the evening prayer starts, so they can all start eating. And believe me, when I say they start eating, they really start eating. I was surprised living in the UAE that during Ramadan, the Muslims, during Ramadan, the month of fasting, the Muslims put on weight. Yes, they put on weight. Because as soon as that sun goes down and they haven't eaten all day, they spend the whole night eating. So they actually eat more during the fasting month than any other time. So during this time, the women of course have to fast, except for when they have the menstruation. It invalidates fasting, so they have to make up for the days lost of fasting in Ramadan afterwards on days that don't have the menstruation. So, but what women can do, even though fasting isn't a requirement by Allah for all good Muslims to follow, the women are allowed to break their fast and taste the food if it's a requirement by their husband. If they have a husband who is a fussy eater, and that husband would be unhappy or angry because the food wasn't just right, the woman can break the fast that is ordained by so-called Allah to please the husband. Of course, she will have to make up that fasting day another time. I don't know how she's going to manage to do that. Well, between menstruating and having a fussy husband, she's living under the stress of being totally in debt to Allah for not having completed her fasting. So this is just another small stress of living under Sharia law, especially for women. But this is very important for the Muslim men because they have total and utter control over the women. The women have to cater to their every need. Otherwise, they get beaten, they get abused, they get locked up, they get raped, in even more extreme cases, honor killings. So this gives incredible power to the men. And apart from being abusive to women, it's also very sad what it does to men. There is no pressure on the men at all. There is no incentive for the men to actually evolve emotionally, intellectually. There is no incentive at all because they don't have to work to get a woman. They don't have to impress a woman. They just have to ask for one or demand one, and they're going to get one. They don't care if they love a woman, they'll marry one. They're not happy, they'll just marry another one. So there's no incentive for the men to improve themselves as human beings. And this is the main reason why they are so immature. They have no control over their emotions at all because they've never been taught to have any control over their emotions, over their sexuality. There's no one to control them. According to Islam, a boy becomes a man at puberty, which means that a boy in puberty in a household, if the father goes somewhere and leaves, he is actually the head of the household, above the mother. Can you believe that? A 13-year-old boy bossing his mother around. And I've had a woman who told me that very thing, a teacher. She said how her 15-year-old son was scolding her because she was walking around the house with short sleeves, which they're allowed to do in the house if the male allows them. So the oppression of women is fundamental for the survival of Islam. And this is the reason why it's so important for the women to free themselves. Because once they do, if they do, I hope they do, Islam will just fall apart. There'll be no reason for the Muslim men to go to mosques anymore and to work for Islam. None. So this is the reason why I talk so much about women's oppression in Islam. So until next time, my friends, share, and I'll see you soon.